why we're doing this. And right now we're anchored in a beautiful anchorage. We're on the Manatee River, and it's very pretty here, very nice. Why we're doing this and why we're here is sort of a forced retirement. And I had trained and taught martial arts for 30 years, and I taught for probably 25 of those years, both under my teachers and then on my own. And we had programs after programs that we had developed and that we had ran in Tucson, and then eventually in the Houston area and in Galveston area. And we ran a school in Seabrook, Texas, and we did pretty good with that. We had many students over the years. Over the years, I probably taught hundreds, if not thousands, of students. And so that was our passion. Carla was very skilled. Our students became very skilled. Most of our students that were with us right as we shut everything down, they had all been with us for 10 years or more. I had students that had tons of experience in martial arts, and they stuck with us and believed in what we were doing. When COVID hit, it was 2020, and one of our students, their spouse came back from Italy, and she was showing symptoms, and COVID was hitting Italy pretty bad, and we were just starting to hear about it coming into the U.S., and so nothing was really that known about it yet, not here in the U.S. And so he came into class, and we were all exposed to him. So we decided to shut everything down. We didn't want to be, we didn't want to be part of spreading all this stuff. So we shut down our program. While we were shut down, Carla and I started just kind of watching a lot of YouTube, like a lot of people were doing, and we saw a guy named Sam Holmes. Sam, if you watch this, we appreciate your efforts and all your sailing. We watched Sam Holmes cross from California over to Hawaii, and we couldn't believe what we were watching, and we thought he was crazy, but we were pretty intrigued by what he did. But we didn't think anything about us doing it. We just thought it was amazing, and so we talked about maybe we ought to do a sailing class. Maybe we should learn a little bit about sailing just to get out and do something, because like a lot of people, we were stuck inside and not doing a whole lot, and we weren't able to run our business. So we decided to take some ASA classes, and we took them over in Kemah, Texas, and we enjoyed it. And the more we started sailing, we started watching more videos and seeing people like the Delos people and a number of others, the Uma people. They were living on their boats, and that was a whole new idea to us. And we thought, man, isn't that amazing? Carl and I originally thought we might do some kind of like camp hosting one day when we retire, so we could travel and see things. But this seemed like a step up from that, and we thought, man, this is something we ought to think about. So we started looking into getting our classes going again, which is ultimately what we wanted to do. And I was not ready to retire. We wanted to keep teaching our classes. And we got our students, we called all our students, and many of them, their lives had changed by then. Now, at this point, it was what, 2022?
21.
21? And their lives had changed, and our life had changed, and so many of them couldn't come back. They were either doing other things, or they were, one in particular was leaving the country. But we did have a handful of students come back, but it wasn't enough to sustain the business, and it wasn't enough for us to, pay bills. So we made the hard decision to change what we were doing, to change our lifestyle. And we decided to buy a boat, and we looked at all kinds of different boats, and we came across this Morgan 41, which ultimately was what we wanted, was something like the Morgan. We had seen some videos on Morgans, and this one seemed perfect for us. So we ultimately looked at, we talked to the broker, and the boat was actually, had an offer on it. And the people bailed out on the offer, I don't know, a few days later. The broker called me back and said, man, the boat's available. Why don't you come look at it? So we went over, looked at it, and we put an offer in, and they took our offer. And so that's kind of how this whole thing came to be. And we bought the boat. We spent 1.5 years working on it. We did no videos on working on it, although we took photos. At some point, we may put a video together of some of the photos. We were so busy working on it and trying to learn everything that videoing wasn't even something that we were thinking about. So we went ahead and got the boat ready to go. We tried to leave a few times in 2021?
Yes.
But we had one problem.
22.
22. We had one problem after another. And so we had to fix all that stuff. And so finally we decided to wait out the season, wait through hurricane season, and we got the boat ready to go. And we finally were able to leave in March. And that was our first video, our crossing of the Gulf. And of course now we're here in Florida. And so that's kind of how we got here. So the other thing I wanted to add in that part of the training that I did, I trained originally in a Chinese Kempo system in Tucson, and my teacher had committed suicide, and so that shut that down, and I did that for, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so. But while I was learning Kempo, I started learning Chinese medicine under Master Augustine Fong in Tucson, and then eventually when the school shut down, I went over to the Sifu Fongs and I began learning traditional Chinese Kung Fu and Tai Chi and Qigong under Master Fong. And for my main business in Tucson was practicing Chinese medicine. I'm licensed in acupuncture and as a practitioner of Chinese medicine in Arizona. I'm still licensed today there. But I was one of 2 students who trained exclusively under Master Fong, who are licensed in acupuncture in the state of Arizona. And so that was what was my main business. When Carla met me, that's how she met me. I was practicing medicine in Tucson. I had a private practice for many years and was pretty well known in Tucson. And then when we came to Texas, I decided I didn't really want to practice that anymore. I wanted to just focus on teaching martial arts. And so we taught our students about Chinese medicine, about the principles. And I did consultations with my students, but I didn't practice anymore so much. Although I've kept it alive between Carla and I, and we still use it. In fact, in the boat we have lots of different herbal remedies for just about everything you can think of. But that was also a large part of what we did for so many years.
For the martial arts side of it, I started learning martial arts with Chris back in 2001, and like Chris said, we wound up having to shut down our classes in, I think June of 2021, and it was a dramatic change for us because that had been our life, for all of those years. And many years before that for Chris, of course. And, we had a lot of fun with the classes, and I always enjoyed working with all the students and had become, close with them because, like Chris said, they'd been with us for several of them for well over 10 years, and they kind of become like family. And so it was really, really difficult to have to shut that down. But several of them are still training together, so that's good. They're keeping it alive. Chris and I have been together for 22 years now, and this is our dog Bodhi, and he's been with us for 9 years. And I found him as a rescue back in 2014. And since nobody claimed him at the shelter, we were able to come back and adopt him. And he has just been a joy ever since we found him. And he is a sailing dog, which we should have known because he has webbed feet. He's a Black Lab Border Collie mix. And he's just a sweet, friendly, smart, perfect little dog. And so Why I'm here is, like Chris said, our business, our martial arts school had gotten shut down, um, due to COVID, and then, people's lives changing. And so we had taken an ASA class, and I was brand new to sailing and pretty much boating in general. I'd only maybe done some kayaking, canoed a few times, and that was it in my life. And I found that I really enjoyed the sailing part of it when we did our class. And once we bought our Morgan 41, we had a captain that worked with us at least 5 times, and his name was Captain Tracy, and he did an excellent job, and was very patient, and so we learned a lot. And I definitely have a lot more to learn, but I feel like I at least have a grasp on the basics, and it was enough to help us get here to Florida. So crossing the Gulf has been a huge deal, and it still feels kind of unreal to me when I look around at the different places we've been since we crossed. Part of me just still finds it hard to believe. But I'm very glad that I did it. It feels like a huge accomplishment. And I guess people who aren't familiar with the Gulf maybe don't understand what an accomplishment it is, but it's kind of a big deal. So Carlos was our 3rd crew member that you probably saw in our first video. And Carlos was one of our martial arts students who had been with us for over 10 years. He was one of our most skilled students, and he's actually still training now with a handful of our other students.
What we failed to mention in the video was that we sold everything. We sold our home, our training facility, our vehicles. We gave stuff away, and we lived on the boat for last year and a half working on it and getting it ready to cross the Gulf. We are dedicated to this. This is what all we have. Carla has lost family. I've lost family. We realize how short time is and how important it is to do the things that you really want to do. And so, any support you can give us, support to our channel, we appreciate more than we can put into words. And thank you for watching.